Don't forget to mute your phones. All right, sisters, we are live. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We are the Doctors of Truth. My name is Mona Chimso Aga, and I am here with my wonderful sisters. So let me have them introduce themselves as usual. Sisters, please go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Augusta Nosuke. I'm here in Richmond, Texas. And as usual, we are here to open the minds of our people to what matters to our self-determination. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Ekwe.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ekuta Simon Akude. As usual, we know that we want to remind us that this show is for mature minds. We welcome everyone with a critical mind, a mind that asks intelligent questions, because out of such questions, solutions emerge. We are Christians. We believe in showing love to our neighbors. But love has categories. The only way to show love to a terrorist is to keep your head away from him. Make sure you stop him from killing you and your children. The only way to show love to a criminal is to get him locked up behind the bars. The only way to show love to an abusive partner is to get away from him or her. You see, that's how you have a sustainable society. A society with justice, equity, and fairness for all. Therefore, we call on all victims of this catastrophe called Nigeria. Whether you're Yoruba, Middle Belt, Lower Niger, it is time to rise. Though we've been beaten down severally, together we will rise. Irrespective of our differences, together we will rise. Because together we are bolder. Together we are stronger. We will rise together. Thank you.
Thank you, sister, for that wonderful introduction. So our topic today, as usual, is posted on our platform. It's called A Searchlight on Why Taking Down the 1999 Constitution is 75% of our self-determination project. A searchlight on why taking down the 1999 Constitution is 75% of our self-determination project. We have our guest, our special guest today, uh, Attorney Tony Nadi. But before he gets started, so let me start off with introduction. As we see the Distressed Federation of Nigeria wobbling to its inevitable terminus, and as we prepare to intensify the effort for the upcoming constitutional merger, in today's show, we want to look at the connection between the infamous 1999 Constitution and the many woes Nigerians have been going through for decades and years now. Or we also want to look at the options available to the intra people of Nigeria, especially the citizens of the South and the Middle Belt being massacred daily. So our guest today, like I said earlier, is attorney from LNC and MNN Joint Secretary. So he's here today. Mazi, please go ahead and briefly introduce yourself.
Tony Nat is my name, as you've been told, and I happen to be secretary to the Lower Niger Congress and also co-convener of the Movement for New Nigeria. Welcoming guests and listeners. Thank you.
Thank you, Mazi. So to start off today's show, I'm going to play some video clip for you guys. Actually, it's not a clip anymore. It's going to be an audio. I was unable to upload the video. So it's just going to be a clip. And while we're doing that, I will be profiling the alliance map as well. So give us a minute.
Now, one last question because we have to go with, and then we can bring you back another time and talk about this.
Right.
I wanted to know, this majority you are talking about, what do you think could trigger them to hold this minority accountable? Do you think that this fear that people have about the influx of people from the north to the south could be the trigger?
Yes.
And do you actually think that people from the north are not shouldn't be allowed to live in the south if they wanted to?
The quarrel has never been about people from the north that come to this. Dangote have been in the south doing his business. The Africa's richest man. Nobody has ever asked anybody who came to sell tomato in Ketu or cattle in Garki in Enugu. Not. The problem began when in 2015 we saw an invasion by people who were not in Nigeria.
I want to get you.
Right, this.
Okay.
It's important.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was saying that in what we have now, that minority is minority in comparison with the people they claim to represent. If you're a senator from Osun, for instance, or from Abakaliki, you are in Abuja because Osun or Abakaliki people send you. If at the time they are saying we don't want further business under this constitution, you now go and connive with whoever is organizing the election from Abuja for you, and you get to Abuja name, I can assure you that between now and when the next round of elections will have come to where voting is taking place, a big problem will have arisen between those who want to go and renew the enslavement of others and the ones who are being enslaved by bringing an end to order. You've been hearing about constitutional force majeure. This majority, we're talking about the indigenous nationalities of the South and Middle Belt. If there's anybody in the Igbo land or Ijo land or Yoruba land or Tiv land that is going to be stronger than the people from those places because somebody in Kano or Abuja is encouraging him to come and be part of sustaining that constitution, that person is going to learn the hard way. And you know the constitution is a social contract. There has been a fundamental departure from the basis of our social contract that we were building a secular federation, a secular union, and a democracy in which life is sacrosanct and we live under the rule of law. A federation, we have ceased to be a federation. A secular union, we have ceased to be a secular union. A goal ceased to be a democracy. Rule of law, you can't have rule of law under this constitution. Sanctity of human life. So in all of that, and only one side, if you go back to that map that shows the alliance and the Sharia, all those things are coming from these feudalists, from these Sharia adherents, who are now prevailing on the rest of the people. Look at how 1979 Constitution came, and how it became 1999 Constitution, and who made it. It was Murtala Mohammed that commissioned the 1979 Constitution by 1975 when he overthrew Gowon. And all of what the Constituent Assembly did in 1977 to moderate the draft they were given, the one that came from Rotimi Williams and Ben Wabweze, Murtala Mohammed that had been killed in 1976, Obasanjo convened the Constituent Assembly that was supposed to be looking at the draft and recommending what would become constitution. They finished their work, submitted a clean copy of what they had agreed upon to Obasanjo, but on the 21st of September 1978, Obasanjo goes on national broadcast to announce 17 amendments to the finished work of the Constituent Assembly. It was in those 17 amendments that everything that took us away from being a federation were restored. The Constituent Assembly did not accept the states that were created to truncate the regions. People are talking about Ironsi that damaged our federation. It wasn't. Ironsi did not touch decree number 34 of 1966. Did not touch the structure of the Federation of Nigeria. It was decree number 14 of 1967 by Gowon that broke the four regions into 12 states. That was the first time the structure of Nigeria was touched. 1 year after Ironsi had been killed. So we are talking about something that is so fundamental. There has been a departure from the basis of the social contract. And when something happens when an extraordinary circumstance arises in a contract, parties who are no longer able to keep the obligations under that contract are in a position to declare force majeure and suspend obligations under that contract. That's why we have come to. The social contract, the Constitution of Nigeria, has come under that situation in which there have been an extraordinary situation that take away the basis of the contract itself. And so those who are suffering, those who are dying, those who cannot see any future in remaining in that social contract are going to declare the action that is coming is that constitutional force majeure, to say that this contract can no longer, we are suspending our obligations under this contract. And when that majority has taken that step, let us then see the number of those who insist that they will use guns to muzzle the rest of the people into submission. Then we'll count their guns.
Now, somebody might ask you, have you thought about this majority moving ahead to recall people who are representing them in Abuja, to recall them and say, look, we don't want you anymore, come back until this is done? Is that a possibility?
Of course, there are dates for when these things will happen. It's not even a matter of possibility. It's just the lockdown that's delayed a few days. There are dates already fixed for when certain things will happen. To tell you that it's not something we're pulling from under our hearts. In the resolutions of the Solemn Assembly of the Peoples of the Lower Niger that happened in Port Harcourt, is actually an item on the resolution that when the time comes, when we have consulted with all our alliance neighbors and we are ready to make the push against that constitution, that will recall those who represent us under that constitution for consultations. If we are very close to that time, once we declare this emergency, of course they will be recalled for consultation. We are not asking them to resign or do it, but they must come and sit down to agree with those who they represent under that constitution how we can proceed. Of course, there might be some who will say, oh, who are you to invite us? That will be their decision. But as for whether they will be recalled from the point that constitutional force majeure is declared. Let it be clear to those who will be trying to understand it when it begins to unfold. The owners of the land, the indigenous nationalities of southern and middle belt Nigeria, have come to where the social contract, the constitution that was imposed in negation of their right to self-determination, because that is what you get when the constitution you have is toppled and replaced by one that is not negotiated. If you go to section 14.2a of their so-called constitution, it says sovereignty belongs to the people from whom government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. That's a universal truism. Everybody knows that that's the case. Then you come to our own situation in which there was never a meeting between the owners, between the constituents, between the Yoruba, the Tiv, and the Jaw, and the Fulani, to commit themselves, because when the preamble says that we, the people, solemnly resolve to live together and therefore make and give us ourselves the following constitution, is saying that we, the Jaw, we, the Ogoni, we, the Yoruba, we, the Igbo, we, the Tiv, have submitted our lands and our people into this union. And therefore, we have written these articles, like the memo and articles of a company, claiming that you, Rudolph, me, Tony, and Richard, all have submitted our assets to become Richie Limited, of a company. If we never met, and your assets and my assets and Richard's assets have been corralled by force, that's what we have now. They've seized everybody's assets, and then they put our signature on their title document. It is that title document called that constitution which defines this social contract that we are rejecting. You cannot keep my signature on that document. It's not the business of National Assembly. It's like because some people are saying, no, why can't National Assembly amend whatever? No, the legislative mandate of National Assembly does not include constitution making. Let's get that straight. So if anybody is in National Assembly hoping that anything happening to constitution will be brought to him, then it's like saying that the managers you hired in your company are the ones that will rewrite your memo and article if there's something to be written in it. Is it the shareholders or the managers they hired that write the memo and article? The memo and articles to the company is like the constitution to the country. The memo and article that brought us together in Lancaster House have been overtaken since 1966. So Nigeria is actually a defunct federation. Those who held the caucus together and who have been holding it to the exclusion of the owners of the vast majority, the south and middle belt, those people are saying that that imposition must come to an end. Because not only has it taken all their assets, it's now taken their lives. The only reason why people can come into communities and kill people with no consequence is that they can't touch guns. Who said they can't touch guns? Because somebody wrote it by decree into that constitution. So we are just trying to break these things down for everybody. The electricity we do not have, the infrastructure we do not have, the right to defend ourselves which have been taken away, and all of the opportunities that have been denied those who in the quota system. You know what it brings. Look at something like NYSC. Since 1973, the purpose of the NYSC, we had a war in which the quarrel was how we will live together. Instead of going to solve that problem, people introduced something that was a deceit. Say, we let young people go and mix up with themselves so that they can become familiar with themselves. That's one side of that's the front end. The back end is this. The children of Port Harcourt, the children of Lagos, the children of Ibadan, the children of Enugu are sent to Karanamoda and Potiskum and Biu to go and perish. Whereas the children of Kano, the children of Sokoto, and the children of Meduguri are sent to Port Harcourt, sent to Lagos, sent to Warri, to be absorbed in NNPC, to be absorbed in MPA, to be absorbed in Central Bank. That's what has been going on since 1977 and 73. And somebody now put it in that constitution so that we cannot amend it. 90% of those managing the affairs of Nigeria today were recruited from that back door. The Land Use Act, you know how it got there. So in all of this, people's lives have been rendered unlivable under that truncated social contract, under that social contract that replaced the one we agreed upon. The social contract, meaning the constitution that brought us together as one union, have been frustrated by those who introduced all these elements, the Sharia and the collapse of the rule of law. Because no rule of law can be attained under an apartheid constitution. We have something worse than apartheid. In apartheid, at least you were sure that it was the Boers, the whites on one side, and the other. And you see the society that they developed. They had system which they developed in the days of apartheid. But look at what we have now, the Fulani. What system have they developed other than damaging all of the ones they met here? So we say we can continue to live like that. If the only reason why I have to be killed is because I have to be in Nigeria with people who ate a little of faith to kill me, of course, I will say I don't want that union. Whatever be the other benefit.
Now,
all right, thank you. What a revelation. Mazi, thank you so much for the good work that you're doing. I'm telling you, the masses does not understand what's going on. Everybody is busy trying to survive. And this video, you broke down what is going on, the nitty-gritty of what's causing our distress. So listening to many issues raised in this video clip, including how the 1999 Constitution came, how is it directly responsible for the various catastrophes that we see in Nigeria, as well as the current push to deliver the trap constitution component from what now manifests as the ethnic cleansing by the Fulani? Can you please explain to our viewers on the remediation design of LNC and MNN Alliance partners?
Yeah, thank you. Like I've been said in the video that became audio, we have what the people on the streets, what the people in our communities see is the end product from a certain process, which has been framed into the document we call the Constitution. Is like the tap from which everything flows, good and bad. So our people in the middle belt areas, they're in their communities, and people come upon them, killing them, taking their lands, and they're not they are not to be found with any gun. If they are found with guns, they can be killed. if they are found organizing to push back those who have come upon them, they will be criminalized, like the governor there is doing. And so they are at a loss as to why they will be in that situation. By these exposes, by these explanations, we are bringing it home to them that there are people who sat down and wrote a document called the Constitution that removed their right to defend themselves from those people, that criminalized them when they try to defend themselves. For the ones who do not have electricity, they can't imagine why everywhere else there's electricity. Every country they travel to, even our neighbors here in Ghana, have had almost 20 years of uninterrupted electricity. They can't understand why they don't have electricity. Year after year, decade after decade, the government is telling them one story or the other as to how electricity will be brought to them. And we're trying to explain to them that the reason they don't have electricity is that same document called the Constitution has a part of it that lists all the items that only the federal government can handle. Meanwhile, that was not in a federation, is not supposed to be so. For our people who live in the US, there's never a day California is going to wait for Atlanta or Arizona to come to generate electricity for them. It is California that has to work out how electricity gets to the people of California or their ports. Whatever it is that have to be infrastructure is basically in the hands of the state of California to organize how they build their highways, how they do their railways to connect. But here in our Constitution, that item is on the exclusive list. Only the federal government can generate and transmit electricity, even if you have the capacity to. Like Eastern Nigeria had the Oji River Power Plant that was running on coal-fired plant. But from the point our Constitution was truncated, the original contract was truncated, the original agreement to be a federation was truncated, the Oji River was shut down, and Abati to die, Onitsha began to die, Nnewi began to die. Even before Port Harcourt, the electricity, even before gas came, that became the basis of the plant in Port Harcourt. It was the Oji River Power Plant that supplied the electricity upon which Trans-Amadi Industrial Layout was based by the Eastern Region government of the time. And so the reason we don't have electricity today is that electricity is on that exclusive list. And there are 68 items like that. Secure arms and ammunition is on that list. And therefore, only the federal government will be in control of all the guns. The governors of your state, for those who are saying, what are our governors doing? Why can't we go and form vigilante? They are talking in absolute ignorance. The arms and ammunition are on that exclusive list. No governor can license you for even a pistol. How much more a rifle? If you are found with a pistol under this Constitution, if you are found with a rifle under this Constitution, it can become reason for shooting you to death instantly, because the Constitution that is imposed is, it criminalizes your being in possession of arms. So no matter the number of Fulani people that come to kill in your community, no matter the number of bandits that you see, you may even know where they are. Like Southern Kaduna people know where these people are in the forest. If they mobilize to go to try to, engage them, security turns up, that federal government security turns up on them and begin to kill them and begin to arrest them. That's what's been going on. The reason they cannot touch gun is that Constitution. So as long as that Constitution is in place, the situation can only get worse. As long as that Constitution is in place, nobody will get electricity, no matter how much they advertise the effort to make electricity, to bring electricity to you. As long as that Constitution is in place, the ports of Lagos will remain the property of Kano people. As long as that Constitution is in place, you are not in a position to elect who will govern you, because there's the matter of state and federal elections are also on that exclusive list in that Constitution. So that it is in Abuja, the body they call Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. It is that INEC that has the responsibility to process all of who will be your candidates. So you look at Eastern Nigeria now. Take away Sam Mbakwe and tell me who amongst all of those who have become governors in that Eastern Nigeria could have been elected by Igbo people to come and govern them. Look at Abia, look at Aba, look at Imo. All of the people who have emerged as governors and senators are people who are possessed by our enemies, people who do not want any progress for us. They've taken away electricity. They've taken away the right to elect who will govern us by way of centralizing the matter of elections into state and federal. We're breaking these things down so that those who are saying, okay, let's go and get better people to go and replace those who are not doing well, that constitution is the reason why they are failing. That constitution is the reason why they will continue to fail. Things can only get worse as long as that constitution is in place. If we had the time, I would have gone over the 68 of the items. And it's just like asking somebody to go and fetch water with basket to say that things will get better under that constitution, especially for those who are the receiving end. Because there are people who also have seized other people's assets. The Niger Delta is boiling, all these decades on account of what they call quest for resource control. The oil and gas assets of the Niger Delta is detained from them by virtue of that constitution, because that constitution puts, the oil and gas and also these minerals under the ownership of the federal government. Whereas in a federation, it belongs to the federating units, the regions of the time. It was from the point in 1967 when those regions were broken down by Yakubu Gowon and his confederates at the Supreme Military Council of the time by decree that it became progressively the asset of the federal government. The port in Port Harcourt was property of the government of Eastern Region under Emir Barra. But the federal government seized all those things. Everything that was economic asset is now in the hands of the federal government. Even the right to work those assets. For instance, Nigeria is constantly, worrying about how they get petrol. The subject matter of refining is again in the hands of the federal government. So that even if I have the capacity to refine, I cannot buy crude oil and refine by myself in Nigeria. It's only the federal government that can refine, just like only the federal government can generate electricity. What is there in generating electricity, for goodness sake, that has become nuclear science that we cannot undertake? The federating units cannot undertake. So no matter how anybody is trying to explain it away, it is that constitution that has brought us to where we are. It is that constitution that has consumed the Union of Nigeria, because it's no longer possible to keep it since one side has, in negation of the express provisions in that social contract, introduced Sharia. The map that was supposed to be on display will have shown the 12 states that went out of the secular arrangement we had. I think I have something I can use to improvise. These 12 states up here, they introduced Sharia simultaneously, and so I think this is a clearer one. These 12 states up here introduced Sharia simultaneously in year 2000, and the secular union we're supposed to be building forbids state religion. In section 10, it says, no, there shall be no state religion introduced by either the federal or state government. These 12 states acted simultaneously, and we can see that they are contiguous, they are together. So we interpret what they've done as a departure from the secular union we're building. And the consequence of introducing that Sharia is that people began to be dislodged from those locations. Yes. Those who have businesses that could have been done anywhere in the country have to begin to move away from those places where Sharia have been introduced. And while you are forced to move away from their part, they can come to your own part to do just whatever they find to do. And so we cannot pretend we're still in that union with them, since they owe it a duty of faith too to kill the rest of the people. They call infidels. So these are fundamental, distortions to the basis of the union, to the basis of being in one union, to the contract that brought us together, the social contract. And the connection is easy to see. The connection between that constitution and the miseries of the people is what I've just been trying to explain now, that it is alleged that we have submitted ourselves into a union that we'll never discuss. And all the things that make us now minorities, the 36 states that have emerged from the 4 regions they met in 1966, have made us a minority in the place of decision making in Abuja. The people who are clearly more than 60% of the country's population can no longer account for even 5% of decision making, because there are 3 senators per state. How did one state, well, how did one region out of 4, we had the eastern, western, midwestern, and northern region of the time, that one northern region has become 19 states and also has the Federal Capital Territory. Each of them has 3 senators plus the one from the Federal Capital Territory. So the 3 regions and the Federal Capital Territory that was Lagos, all put together, have now been compressed into 17 states, whereas one region has become 19 states.
Wow.
You come to the place of sharing. Those 19 states, you know, what they bring to the table, they take as of right, as of what the Constitution says. It doesn't matter who is president. They take 72% of whatever is on the table to be shared. Because there's also the local government. They created 774 local government areas just by decree. Kano alone has 44 local government areas. Bayelsa, from where the money must come, has only 8 local governments. And so even if there's a president from Bayelsa, like Jonathan was, he must give Kano 44 portions and give Bayelsa only 8 portions. From Kano, Jigawa State was cut out not too long ago. They have, I think, 27 or so local government areas. They put the Kano State of the Kano State of recent time, put it in terms of local government areas. You see 71 local government areas. What are they bringing to that basket from which this sharing has to take place? Not 1%.
Tony,
Not
hold on.
1%.
Tony, hold on. We are having some technical issues. Our screen is frozen. I'm trying to unfreeze it. So give me a moment. Let me.